Rapist and child trafficker Gerhard Ackerman has been sentenced to 12 life terms for over 700 counts of rape, human trafficking and attempted murder. The 52-year-old maintains that he's innocent though and has requested a retrial, saying there were illegalities in his trial. During his sentencing, the judge described Ackerman as an evil man who exposed his victims to HIV. Let's get you more reaction on this ruling. Bring in now Dr. Siyabonga Nzimande, who's at the KZN Children's Sector at the SA National AIDS Council. The doctor joins us via our video link this morning. And it's great to have you on the program, so thanks very much indeed for making time. You know, if you're able to watch some of the footage on this channel coming out of the court itself when the ruling was being delivered, you would have seen there that Ackerman wasn't a man who was just maintaining his innocence, but there was also this deep-seated denialism going on. Is this typical predatory behavior, or is this just a man way beyond the pale?
Greetings to you, Ayanda, and your listeners. I think, as you have said and correctly said, I think as much as you can be denying, but this is just a usual way in how people act when they actually are perpetrators and actually even infringing on our young people's right, and also looking at the case itself. For us, we really feel that he's maybe just trying to run away on his barbaric and evil act in actually damaging the future of young people in South Africa.
Yeah, you know, and I suppose the victims or his victims will be pleased that this is the kind of life sentence he's received. But I do wonder whether or not, you know, the fact that he's still maintaining post this kind of undenial, this indisputable evidence that he's innocent, I wonder to what extent that could affect their ability to get closure.
I think the evidence that has been brought so far to our justice system clearly indicates and we want to first really applaud the justice system of South Africa, and we welcome the judgment and the sentencing, which for us we feel that this is going to set a scene for all other cases that are related to children within our country. In our effort as the South African National AIDS Council to end AIDS by 2030, it means that we still have a long way to actually create more awareness and advocacy within our communities, and also to look at how do we zoom in further to other cases which are similar to this, because this may not be just the only case that we are dealing with in South Africa, and also looking at protecting our children's rights. This can really mean that it's something that is going to pave the way for us and send a strong message, not just to him alone with what is currently happening in this case, but also to other cases that may be relevant into this case as well.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, in some instances, he's been nabbed for being a ringleader in this, human trafficking ring. But something has to be said about the people who are also participating in these crimes, right? And we understand, I mean, if there are 700 counts, one can only imagine just how many people may have been involved. They too surely should be held accountable.
It's going to actually mean that everyone that was involved in the case should be held accountable, and also we should be able to remove the scourge and the damage that has been done mostly to our people and to our children. It is very important for us to ensure that we put a voice for the voiceless. Children have a very little voice, and also the observation of children's rights are very minimal in our country. And for us, we're saying as the Civil Society Forum, we welcome the sentencing, but also want to emphasize on how these cases should be handled moving forward. It's not just only him, but as you are saying, we're also looking forward to see how is it going to be unpacked in ensuring that we reach an accountability to ensure that everyone that was involved is also convicted and found guilty.
Yeah. Do you reckon that this case does stand out because of the sentencing? In other words, are you seeing for the first time a harsh enough sentence for someone accused of these kind of crimes, especially against children?
I think if you look at what the police minister has reported to Parliament previously, it's always the gap in finding the gap of sex trafficking and also sexual grooming and all of the children abuse that are currently happening, mainly in trafficking. We find that there's been very little cases that actually get into such stage. So for us, this is really setting a very high tone in how we're going to pave the way moving forward, and also how we're going to ensure accountability. And I mean, I want to really say the world is watching us, and if we can be able to set such high standards in this case, we'll be able to actually send a strong message also out there into other people who are currently doing this. There's many cases that come up. If you look at civil society movements, you'll begin to see that many are reporting these human trafficking, sexual trafficking cases, but very little accountability actually is actually yielded through such cases. So this is really one thing that we are looking forward into, but it's also something that is going to pave the way for us to advocate, but this is also something that is going to ensure that we bring about human rights-centered approach in every effort that we are trying to look at in South Africa. I'm going to keep saying this. We have a roadmap as South Africa to say we're ending AIDS by 2030. If there's still perpetrators like this, and there are still people who think that it's okay to do something like this and stand up in a court of law and still say, I plead, I'm not guilty, it is disgraceful. It is a barbaric and really utterly barbaric behavior that we need to be able to look at and set a standard on.
Yeah. Speaking about the way forward, I shudder at the thought of the kind of impact this crime has had on the children who are victims of Gerhard Ackerman. And I wonder what you reckon the treatment of these victims should be moving forward. For instance, there's always this debate about whether it's good to have them involved in this kind of trial because of the secondary victimization that they could be exposed to, or whether or not, in fact, their involvement is a good thing because of the strength of their evidence.
It's two things. We have to always look at the best benefit of a child, and also looking at how do we protect the children's rights at the same time. I think bringing them on board could add value, but at the same time we need to look at how do we ensure that we protect children, and also in paving the way forward, how do we ensure that psychosocial support is given to their families, it's given to them, and also this could be a long life impact on them. And if we don't set up that straight tone to ensuring proper psychosocial support, and also ensuring that their mental health care is well taken care of, it will be very much important to ensure that we include them, but also how do we protect them moving forward. However, one needs to also begin to look at ways on which we look at not just getting to this stage and saying that we have actually come up to get into court. How many other cases have not come into court? How many other children? It's not just going to heal those children that were directly affected by the case, but it's also going to send a strong message and also really pave the way on how do we also go back and get other children which have never got the strength to report. The strength to report such cases always becomes an issue because we don't know where to report, we don't know how to report, we don't know who to talk to and when to talk to them. So it's going to be very important to look at a multi-sectoral approach at this stage, to look at all other civil society organizations that offer psychosocial support, and also look at pro bono organizations that should be able to welcome other cases that are relevant to such cases, so that we see a closure on those children as well, and also justice is taking place. I think what is really making us excited at this stage is to see the road to justice. And this need to be embedded in our way. As I said, we are paving a way. We are ending AIDS by 2030, and we are saying that our children are priority groups, and they've been neglected for such a long time, and therefore such cases are giving us a key indicator, and also showing and demonstrating to the world that South Africa is not a playground.
Absolutely, loud and clear. Siyabonga Nzimande, Dr. Siyabonga Nzimande, thanks very much indeed. Really appreciate your time on the AM Report this morning.